Hello, welcome to another video, and today we're going to be discussing about my reaction to the USMNT April roster. So, let's begin. So, before we continue, I'd like to tell you guys to like and subscribe because it is very important that you guys like and subscribe so you guys can never miss another video. So, let's continue. So, let's discuss about this April camp. Obviously, going to be against Mexico, and it's going to be the Continental Cash Grab. Yes, you heard that right. It basically, I think the US is basically going to be playing Mexico literally every year now, and obviously they're gonna be playing some dumbass friendly, some all-star game. Who knows what to even call at this point, but it's going to basically going to be a cash grab. Like, they're not even hiding it no more. Like, this is so ridiculous. Obviously, this USMT roster is pretty poor. There's some good faces in there, some pretty interesting faces, but ultimately it is a pretty bad roster. So let's continue. Obviously, I was expecting something a little bit better, because Anthony Hudson did choose something decent for the March camp, but obviously that was false optimism, as I soon realized that with an MLS camp, you have to select the familiar faces. So let's just discuss this. So goalkeepers obviously going to be Sean Johnson, Roman Santano, Jay Calendar. Obviously, I'm expecting Sean Johnson to probably start in this fucking match. Like, just like fuck it. Sean, I know Sean Johnson is pretty good and all, but he is. I think he's already hit his ceiling, and I believe he's going to be starting to decline from here on out. I think he's one of the top 10 best goalkeepers in MLS. Uh, right now, I feel he's like top 10. When he was in NYCFC, I think he was like a top 5. So obviously there's been better goalkeepers coming into the league, but obviously it's a sign that he's declining in my eyes. Roman Solentano has been pretty good this year for FC Cincinnati, and the defense for FC Cincinnati is one of the reasons why they have been doing pretty good this year. So I believe Ron Santano does earn up his call up, and especially because he's like 22, 23 years old, obviously as well. Drake Calendar, 25 years old, obviously plays for Inter Miami, pretty good shot stopper. But considering the fact that Inter Miami face 1 million shots per game, that's probably because of why his saves are getting a little bit inflated. And as well, Inter Miami are pretty shit, and obviously that's about it. I think Jay Calendar is a pretty good goalkeeper, but obviously I think he's a he's a May call up, pretty average. Obviously for me, he should be the only Inter Miami player that gets called up, but still there's gonna be one other one, and I swear it's gonna be so bad. So next is gonna be the center backs. Center backs: Walker Zimmerman, Matt Miazga, Aaron Long, and Josh Winder. For me, the two starting ones have to be Matt Miazga and Walker Zimmerman. Obviously, Matt Miazga is back with the national team at last. He's back with the national team. I we should have at least used him once during World Cup qualifying when we had like no options back then, but he's back, so obviously that's a good sign. Um, I don't know if Matt Miazga will ever return to Europe. I think he'll be staying from NMLS from here on out, and obviously I think it's kind of a good move for him. Obviously, I think he's from Ohio or from Cincinnati, so he's in his hometown. So he kind of gets to stay there, gets to make the league better, gets the league better defenders. So obviously, that's something good for him. Walker Zimmerman obviously was expecting this. Obviously, cannot complain about this. I think he still has like 1 or 2 more years. After that, I think once we have the better players coming in, I think it's time to say goodbye to Walker Zimmerman. Josh Winder, pretty interesting call up. He's been looking really good in the USL, but obviously this time he will be playing in camp. He will be playing against MLS players, so obviously this is a very good opportunity for him. So obviously I like to say I think it's a good decision by Anthony Hudson to bring him to camp. Aaron Long, obviously, oh my, Aaron Long, such a bad call up. Like, I'm sorry, but he is a bad call up. He's in his 30s already. He suffered an Achilles tear, and obviously he has been looking pretty shit so far. And obviously, technically, he's so poor, nothing good. He does not offer much to the table for us, so obviously he's a really bad call up. Um I'm lost of words. Um, if I would have brought in another MLS center back, obviously I probably would have brought in like a. There's not a lot of MLS center backs, but obviously I probably would have brought Lucas Barley. Maybe he's 25. Maybe bring him. But obviously, who I was I could have seen this from a mile away. Fullbacks, one left back and four right backs. This is ridiculous. Caleb Wiley, Sergio Das, Shaq Moore, DeAndre Yedlin, and Julian Gressel. DeJuan Jones played good in the January camp. John Tolkien as well. And they've both been pretty good so far in MLS. Why don't you pick them? Especially DeJuan Jones. You are. This is such a stupid call up. Obviously, Caleb Wiley and Sergio Das, no complaints there. I think they're both been pretty good this year. No, for Sergio Das, I believe he's in this camp because he's not getting minutes in AC Milan. That's obviously is a pretty decent call up. It's kind of logical. You should give him as many minutes as he needs because obviously he's not going to be playing minutes at Milan. So obviously just give him minutes. Um, Caleb Wiley obviously has been looking pretty good for Atlanta United, and obviously he should be given minutes. He's like 17 years old, 18. So obviously he has a very, very, very high ceiling. So obviously both of them are pretty good call ups. Sergio Das has I think he should be searching for a new club. But with the other three right backs, Shaq Moore, DeAndre Yedlin, Julian Gressel, like just having two there would have been bad enough. But having all three of them in this camp is just ridiculous. Shaq Moore, this man is was one of the worst players at the World Cup. DeAndre Yedlin, 30 years old, probably older than 30, and he has been looking pretty trash so far in MLS. Julian Gressel, 29 years old. Not the only connection to America he has is the fact that he is a citizen. He was not born in the United States, and none of his fathers or mothers have connections to the United States. And we are not Mexico, okay? We do not need naturalized players on our national team. Please. We do not need we do not need to give out citizenship to foreign players just because they can play for the national team. They gotta at least have some connection to the U.S. Like I'm sorry, but they just have to, because we are not Mexico. Okay, we are not Mexico. I just wanna let you guys know we are not Mexico. Midfielders: James Sands, Aiden Morris, Colin Costa, Alan Senora, Christian Don, and Jackson Yule. James Sands, Aiden Morris, pretty good call-ups. James Sands has been looking pretty decent so far in NYCFC. Kind of what I was expecting of him. Aiden Morris has been scoring goals, has been looking incredible for Columbus Crew. Obviously, he has earned this call-up. Colin Costa, he's an average player. I think if you want to win this game, kind of one of the players you need is probably Colin Costa because of his solid presence he presents in midfield. On Senora, pretty bad call up. Obviously, he has been looking pretty shit at Flora so far. He is not even a starter there. Christian Roldan, obviously, he has never looked good for the national team. Never, never, never. And he was the worst player on the World Cup. Jackson Yule. Oh my. It's 2023 and we are still calling off the likes of Jackson Yule to our national team. Yes, you heard that right. You are still calling off the likes of Jackson Yule to the national team, even though it's 2023. And this midfield is so uncreative. It is so uncreative. It's scary at this point of how uncreative this midfield is. Um, the only creative presence I'm gonna see probably is gonna be from maybe from Monsignora, maybe. Wingers, Cade forwards, Cade Cowell, Brandon Vasquez, Jesus Ferreira, Paul Arriola, and Jordan Morris. Cade Cowell and Paul Arriola might as well just start them at the wings. I think they're going to be looking pretty decent over there. Brandon Vasquez, he's a pretty decent call-up, but obviously he's been looking extremely poor in MLS. He has started the season pretty poor. Uh, Jesus Ferreira has been looking pretty decent. I think we should play him as a 10. Have him look over there at the 10. Jordan Morris, start him as a 9. I do not want to see this man as a winger ever again. And obviously, this man has been looking pretty good as a striker so far. So obviously, if he's been playing pretty good as a striker so far, play him as a striker. Do not put him on the wings. For crying out loud, he's not that technical. So obviously, I think this is a meh group of forwards. I think I would have called up. I would have probably called up Nicholas Gioacchini, to be honest. Ebobisse maybe would have been another option. However, I'm just lost for words for how poor this roster is. Let's start about my preferred lineup, and this is the best I can do. Roman Santana in goal. Do not want to see Sean Johnson in goal ever again. Like I know he's been pretty good. He was really good in that Uruguay match, but obviously his time has come and passed. He already played in the World Cup. Congratulations, get out of the national team. Caleb Wiley and Sergio Das as fullbacks. Would have been they're pretty good options as fullbacks. Matt Miazga and Walker Zimmerman, pretty good options as center backs. James Sands and Aiden Morris as the double pivot, pretty good options. Cade Cowell, Jesus Ferreira, and Paul Arriola, and Morris as forwards, with Ferreira as the 10, Cowell and Arriola on the wings, and Jordan Morris up top. Good options. So for me, I think this will be my starting 11. So obviously, I do not know what Mexico are going to bring. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.